Hi guys, so we're going to be reading chapter 2 of our Shadow and the Shark, number 25 series in the Magic Treehouse. I'm sorry if you hear barking or running around, my dog is going crazy right now. So, in chapter 1 we were reintroduced to our characters Jack and Annie, and we were also introduced to this character named Teddy, who was sending Jack and Annie on this quest. Their mission was to go on a vacation and have fun. They picked a place in Mexico to go on vacation. Now, we were also discussing at the very end on whether we think this is actually going to be a vacation filled with fun or if that's too good to be true. So let's read chapter 2 and see where the story takes us. Afternoon sunlight flooded into the treehouse. Jack heard the sound of waves softly lapping the shore. He and Annie looked out the window. The treehouse had landed in the palm tree overlooking snow-white sand and a turquoise blue sea. Near the beach was the stone pyramid pictured on the cover of the travel guide. Cozumel, Jack said. Paradise, Annie said. Where is everyone? Said Jack, looking around. There were no other tourists, no swimmers, no surfers, or sunbathers. There were no sightseers. There were no vehicles parked near the Mayan pyramid. I don't know, Annie said. I thought there'd be, luxury spa hotels and fancy restaurants. It's weird, said Jack. Maybe it's just the perfect beach, said Annie, shrugging. Yeah, but... Jack looked through their travel guide until he found a photo that seemed to match the deserted shoreline with the pyramid. This looks like the same place. He read the caption. On the southwest Caribbean coast is a nature preserve. Oh, cool. We landed into a nature preserve, said Annie. That's why it looks so natural. Right, said Jack. He read on. Dazzling coral reefs are just a short distance offshore. Beginning snorkelers can swim without losing sight of land. Yay, said Annie. We did come to the perfect place. A nature preserve with a coral reef just like Randy and Jenny's. Yep, said Jack. Let's snorkel first. Then maybe check out that pyramid. It looks cool. Good plan, said Annie. She started down the rope ladder. Jack put the travel guide into the swim bag with their snorkel gear. He hung the bag on his shoulder and followed Annie. He stepped off the ladder and stood with her in the shade of the tree. Oh man, said Jack, sighing. A fresh, salty ocean breeze wafted over them. White sand sparkled in the warm sunlight. This is a good view, said Annie. I'll take a picture. No, even better, a video. She reached into the pocket of her tunic and pulled out their cell phone. Pointing to the phone at the beach, she clicked the record button and spoke loudly. Jack and I are on Cozumel at a beautiful beach on a nature preserve, and this... Hey, stop, said Jack. What if Mom and Dad see that? You have to erase it. Oh, you're right, said Annie. She laughed as she deleted the video. No big deal. Mom and Dad, we just took a little detour to Mexico on our way home from the lake. She put the phone in Jack's bag. Okay, no camera on this trip. Let's hit the water, said Jack as they started across the beach. Their flip-flops sank into the fine, sugary sand. Seagulls called overhead. It's easier to go barefoot, said Annie. She and Jack stopped and put their flip-flops into Jack's bag. Hey, what's that? Annie pointed to a raft lying in the sand. Whoa, said Jack. They hurried over to get the raft. They hurried over to the raft. It was made of bamboo poles lashed together with leather strips. A paddle lay beside it. Jack looked around for its owner, but no one was in sight. Who left it here? It must belong to the nature preserve. It must belong to the nature preserve, said Annie. I'll bet it's for tourists to use. Why else would it just be lying here? It's got a paddle and everything. Want to try it? What? Put it in the water, said Jack. Yes, said Annie. It'll be fun. Say yes. No, Jack said. Oh, Jack, please. We can paddle out to the reef. Look how calm the water is. It'll be super fun, said Annie. Jack started to say no again, but he stopped. It would actually be super fun, he thought. Well, if we take it, we have to stay close to shore and keep a lookout for its owner, just in case. Okay, said Annie. I'll row. She grabbed the paddle and Jack dragged the raft over the wet sand. He pushed it from the bubbling sea foam into the cool, clear water. She floats, said Annie. Gentle waves lapped the sides of the raft. Okay, you hop on first, said Jack. He put their bag on the raft and then held it steady while Annie climbed onto the bamboo poles. The raft kept floating. Good. Now me, said Jack as he climbed aboard. The raft dipped a bit lower in the water, but it easily held them both. Yay! Now let's find the reef, said Annie. I'll take us there. As she began to paddle, the breeze helped push the raft over small ocean swells. This is a great raft. I'll bet the ancient Mayans made them just like this, said Jack. So, who were the ancient Mayans exactly? Asked Annie. I don't know a lot about them, said Jack. But I know they had a huge civilization over 1,000 years ago. They built pyramids and designed a special calendar. Well, they sure made good rafts, said Annie. As she pushed the paddle through the water, the raft moved further out to sea. This is just a little picture. It might be hard to see because of the sun, but it is Jack and Annie on their raft. About 100 yards out, Jack held up his hand. Okay, let's stop here, he said. We don't want to get too far away from the land. Let's look underwater for the reef. The book said it was near the shore. Right, said Annie. You snorkel first. I'll stay with the raft. You sure? Sure. Thanks. Jack reached into the swim bag. Before he pulled out the snorkel gear, he looked up Cozumel coral reefs in the travel guide. He read aloud. The coral reefs of Cozumel are visited by an average of 1,500 tourists a day. Coral? Really? Anne interrupted. I don't see one single tourist. I know. I don't understand that, said Jack. He kept reading. Coral is made of animals, not plants. Since a coral reef is very delicate and takes a very long time to grow, swimmers and snorkelers must avoid touching it or kicking it with their flippers. Makes sense, said Jack, closing the book. Look, don't touch, just like at the museum. Got it, said Annie. Jack put his glasses and the travel guide in the inside pocket of his swim bag. Then he unpacked all their swimming gear. While Annie held the raft steady with the paddle, Jack buckled on one of the life vests, squeezed his feet into flippers, and attached the snorkel to his face mask. Finally, he pulled on the mask, covering his eyes and nose, and adjusted the strap. He inhaled through his nose, causing the mask to create a vacuum so water couldn't seep in. Balance me so the raft doesn't flip over, Jack said to Annie. Annie balanced the raft while Jack sat on the edge. As he slipped down into the sea, his life vest kept him from going under. Bobbing into the water, he placed the end of the snorkel tube into his mouth. Have fun, Annie called. Jack waved to her. Then he started swimming face down along the surface of the water, gently kicking his flippers. Looking through his mask, he saw only a few fish at first, but then he saw more and more. Suddenly, he couldn't believe his eyes. And friends, that is the end of chapter 2. So, why do you think that there's no other tourist in the place that they said usually has about 1,500 tourists in it? Do you think maybe they're at the wrong location? I want to hear what you have to say. If you want to comment it, sure, go ahead. Just a little preview. Chapter 3 is called Attack. So, what do you think is going to happen next? If you want, you can look at the title page. Do you think that gives us a clue of what is going to happen next? And also, do you think that has to do with why there's nobody else at this resort? All right, make sure you come back tomorrow so that we can read chapter 3 and then come back the next day so we can finish the entire book. Just keep coming back. All right, bye, guys.